I'm 44, and this is my daughter.
I'm Rakia. I'm 26 years old, and we live in Jacksonville, Alabama.
Look it up, feel so good.
We do everything together.
Yeah.
I mean, everything.
Watch a movie together, cook together.
Twerk.
Go on, go crazy, show up.
It shocks people if we share the things that we do. I showed her my first sex tape about 2 years ago.
I showed her my first sex tape maybe a year ago. I was like, hey, I want to spice things up. I bought this outfit, you know. What kind of positions do you think I should do, or what do you think we should do? And she was just like, oh, girl, prop your leg up in this angle. Maybe your back should have been a little bit more arched in this position.
Have your significant others known that you showed the video to your mom?
Yes, I had one significant other in the past that knew that I shared the video with my mom, and he was like, you guys are sick.
Hey, folks. I've had like maybe 5 people send me this videotape, and I think Dr. J is probably going to do something on it pretty soon because I saw it on his Facebook page. So the clip you just saw was to a mother and a daughter, and the TLC video that it came from talked about them sharing sex tapes, right? And you can see that they twerk together, they do everything together. I didn't play quite the whole clip because, you know, how it is with copyright. So I just played pieces of it. But I'll put the link in the description. Go look for yourself. But I am not surprised. I am not surprised. This almost incestuous relationship, because if you see them together, interacting together, they're more like emotional lovers. In other words, the mother has used her daughter to replace a man in her life. So in essence, she's, instead of getting a man, she has a perpetual child, almost like a dog, right? And then that's what happens when mothers become best friends of their daughters. It's almost incestuous like that. And this is something where what can happen when it goes overboard. So I can't imagine why a mother would share sex tapes with their daughter and talk about positions and stuff like that. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Kind of reminds me of a husband and wife in Cuckold, where, say, you had the white wife and a black dude, right? And the husband is there filming. I said I wouldn't be shocked if the mother actually taped her daughter having sex with another guy. Now, normally, you would find this more in, say, like a weird white, kind of like, I wouldn't say suburb, but a weird white subset of people, like swingers or something like that, where they regularly have orgies and stuff like that. It's kind of unusual to see it in the black family. In fact, it's really frowned upon in the black world, with black mothers in the black family. Normally there's pretty healthy boundaries between mother and daughter. So when I saw it, I was kind of taken aback. You know, even the guys that they went with said they showed their mother sex tapes and stuff like that. The young woman who's 26 said her boyfriends thought it was sick. So I can't even imagine what kind of sex life that they have if they're sharing tapes with each other. So that means there's very little boundaries. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is more prevalent. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if this is more prevalent. That this is wouldn't be unusual. You saw them twerking in the mirror, because you see young mothers twerking with their daughters, you know, with their little 5-year-old daughter. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a mother twerking with her 26-year-old daughters. And I've heard many times, you know, guys saying that Generation X mothers are competing with their daughters, with their millennial daughters. And you see a very good example of this, where you have mothers actually trying to live through their daughters, through the youth of their daughters. They're trying to hold on to what they used to do. Instead of being the teacher and being the advisor of a younger woman, they're actually competitors to younger women. So I don't know, I found this, it wasn't disturbing because I've heard of this before, but normally I've heard of this through white women that do this kind of stuff. White women have been doing this for years. And not all white women, just a certain subset, because you got to remember, I'm in LA, and, you know, the Porn Valley is, you know, not too far away, you know, like maybe 20 miles away, where they used to film all the adult movies, you know, down in the San Fernando Valley. So I've heard of this. I've heard, you know, white women talk about it. But even then it was kind of rare, so it's kind of unusual that they would actually be on camera talking about them sharing sex tapes and being proud of it, knowing that black people normally would poo-poo it. Even in the comment section, they were kind of poo-pooing it. But just like twerking and just like the slut walks and stuff like that, once black people start accepting something, it usually gains momentum. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was far more prevalent than we actually would even consider. We see this kind of not as outward as this example is, but we do see it. We do see it with black women and their daughters, where black women are trying to absorb their daughters' youth and stay young and pretty and desirable, even if they're past their prime. And I do believe it's low-key jealousy. I've dealt with that in my own life. And I dealt with it as my two daughters actually turned of age, and as soon as they were getting into puberty, there was low-key jealousy with the older women. And I mean to the point where it almost got into fights. And it was funny that just a couple of months before they actually got their period, everything was all good. There was no riff or wrath or anything like that. And as soon as they got their period and they became officially a woman, then all of a sudden the attitude of the older women actually changed. And I used to see, especially from my mother-in-law, a lot of low-key jealousy. Jealousy that she couldn't be the young, pretty, hot thing that my daughters were actually going to become, as they grew older. So I think I would think it's weird if I hadn't seen it so much, and I would think it's really strange if I didn't understand it, but I do understand it. I guess it's better than the low-key jealousy and hate, except it's instead doing it the opposite way, where you smother the girl and you're trying to absorb her youth and her experiences, as an older woman, and still have the same kind of feeling, because it really is all about feeling and emotion. You get the same kind of feeling that your daughter transfers from her experiences to you. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see this female-to-female cuckold. Instead of seeing another man have sex with your wife, you see your daughter have sex with a younger man, and you're sitting there filming it. That just shows you the decay of the United States, the decay of the country. And normally when it infects black people, it's pretty much a wrap. Like, black people are the canary in the coal mine. If it affects white people on the fringe, there's so many of them that it's very hard for it to be adopted by the whole. But since black people are a smaller group, and believe it or not, we're a very tightly knit group, then once something seeps into our culture, it can affect the whole group rather rapidly. So I'm not surprised. I would beware, and hey, keep your guard up, because this is going to be more prevalent than you actually think. It actually is more prevalent than you think. These two just happen to put it on camera, and Southern women on top of that. When somebody said that when they saw Alabama, they weren't surprised. Hey, there are some strange things that go on in Alabama. I'm not going to lie. People do think a little bit differently, but something like this is, I would say this is rather unusual. Let's put it that way. But anyway, if people ask me what I thought about this, did I think it was sick? No, I didn't think it was sick. It's sad. Let's put it that way. I think it's more sad than sick that people will feel this way, or people do this, or people are adopting this stance without healthy boundaries. Like between mother and daughter, you can see there's no healthy boundary. There's no passing the baton. But anyway, that's all I got. This be just out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.